So you want to know about so they're going to have the debate. Now, guess what? Turns out they don't even the debates are completely corrupted by the two parties, right? Because it used to be the League of Women Voters, right, Malcolm? The League of Women Voters. Those were the ones who would run the debates. And so it was a third party that ran it, so you know it was equal and fair. And by the way, it favored the electorate becoming informed, which is not how they have it now.
Although, interestingly, the League of Women Voters, the only reason the League of Women Voters was allowed to conduct the debates was because if the networks did it, they had to give equal time to the third party. They had to allow the third party, the non. But because the League of Women Voters was an independent organization, they could sponsor it. They could exclude the other candidates and just do the.
And they still got rid of the League of Women. So here,
and that wasn't good enough. Wasn't good enough.
So the League of Women Voters sponsored presidential debates in 1976, Carter and Ford, 1980, Reagan and Carter, in 1984, Reagan and Mondale. And then this is from the League of Women Voters, by the way, all this information. The presidential debate train was working to deliver balanced, nonpartisan information to American voters. And then in 1987, that campaign train got hijacked. And here's a video that'll kind of tell you what happened. Let's play it.
In early 1987, our site selection process and other planning already underway, the chairman of the two political parties announced plans to sponsor their own series of debates. They had set up a commission, they said, and they thanked the League for all we had done and urged us to step aside. We did not. Since their press conference that day, the League has argued that an organization set up by the political parties is not an appropriate sponsor for presidential debates. Representatives of the two campaigns came to us on September 28th, just 2 weeks before the debate, with an agreement we were told we had to sign. The agreement had been reached by the campaign chairman, and it spelled out everything. Between themselves, the campaigns had determined what the television cameras could take pictures of. They had determined how they would select those who would pose questions to the candidates. They had determined that the press would be relegated to the last two rows of the hall. They had determined that they would pack the hall with their supporters. And they had determined the format. The campaign's agreement was a closed-door masterpiece. The agreement was a done deal, they told us. We were supposed to sign it and agree to all of its conditions. If we did not, we were told we would lose the debate. It's clear that the campaigns wanted the League's stamp of integrity on a shoddy product. Obviously, we have been presented with campaign demands before. We have agreed to some and we have challenged and negotiated others. But never in the long history of the League of Women Voters have two candidates' organizations come to us with such stringent, unyielding, and self-serving demands. In Winston-Salem, which you know was not a League of Women Voters debate, they went so far as to insist on reviewing the moderators' opening comments. It turned out that the League had two choices. We could sign their closed-door agreement and hope the event would rise above the manipulations, or we could refuse to lend our trusted name to this charade. The League of Women Voters is announcing today that we have no intention of becoming an accessory to the hoodwinking of the American public.
That's mind-blowing. To me it is, and that we let it happen. And no one screams about it. Nobody at CNN screams about it, or anybody at the major networks or MSNBC. No one screams about that. No one forces those two. They just let corruption to happen. Why? Because they're all paid by the same people. CNN, Time Warner is Hillary Clinton's 8th biggest donor, right? MSNBC is owned by Comcast, which is pushing the TPP. These people work for the people they're supposed to be investigating. All those people at MSNBC work for the people they're supposed to be exposing. Like, that's why we had the Iraq War. Because when Phil Donahue at MSNBC was against the Iraq War, they fired Phil Donahue. The good thing is Rachel Maddow brings him on every night. I don't think she's ever even mentioned his name. They fired Ed Schultz because he was against the TPP. They got rid of him.